Have you ever wondered what to do with your home's equity? Or maybe even a better question might be, what is home equity and how much do you have for your particular home? Stay tuned because you're going to get some of those answers today. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Realty Podcast with Tony Griffin, Keller Williams One, Greensboro, North Carolina, Mathis and Associates. And today we're talking about 3 ways to use your home equity. Now, before we get too deep into it, let's start off by first talking about what home equity is. So, home equity is basically um, the amount of profit or proceeds that you have in the value of your home versus how much you owe. So, for example, let's say it's a $200,000 house and you only owe 50,000 or $100,000 left on your mortgage. That means basically you have 50% equity. That means if you were to sell your home today, you'd still have to pay off your $100,000 mortgage, but you'd keep 100 grand as well. So that's a quick way to kind of figure out how equity is factored in and how we're going to get some percentages that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Now, everyone's home is different. Everyone's amount of equity is different. It could be tied to how you purchased the home. So, for instance, if you got a mortgage or if you paid cash, that means you basically got 100% equity in your home, or maybe you just paid your mortgage off. Again, 100% equity in your home. Maybe you just recently bought the home, but you put a substantial amount of money down. Well, the good news is that down payment is actually counted towards the value and the equity in your home. So that should be helping you out there as well. So let's talk about home equity and what it looks like in our area here in Greensboro, North Carolina. So, according to the 2021 census, Greensboro, North Carolina has roughly 300,000 residents. Of those 300,000 residents, we've got about 60,000 properties where the property owner has at least 50% equity in their home. So, that is fantastic news. That means there are plenty of homeowners in and around the Greensboro area who have a substantial amount of positive income or positive value that they can use going forward in a variety of ways. And we're going to just dive into a few of those, specifically three, right now to let you know what you could be doing with that positive equity. So, the first thing to think about with your positive equity is buying a home that fits your current needs. Maybe you currently have a home that's too big. Maybe it's too small. Maybe you really want a home with a yard, or maybe you need a home office or a home gym. Uh, Maybe it was even a situation where you've got a one-car garage and you desperately need a two-car garage or something like that. Now is a fantastic time to use that positive equity in your home as a springboard into your future home, the home that you would maybe like to keep as your forever home. Maybe it's the next move up, or maybe it's the next move down situation. So, depending on how much money you've got tied into your home and how much value there is there, this can help to take care of any gaps that there might be for the cost of that next home. In some instances, if it's a move down, maybe this is going to wipe out the need for a mortgage at all and still put a little bit of extra money in your pocket. So that's always a huge benefit if that's the case. But the first thing that you can do with your home's positive equity is use it to get the home you want instead of the home that you're in. Number two, you can always reinvest in your current home. Maybe you really love where you're living now. You love the neighborhood. You love everything that's around it. Maybe it's got a wonderful view or super easy access to work or to school, and it's where you want to be, but the home isn't exactly what you want it to be. This is a perfect opportunity to pull some of that equity out and maybe use like a home equity line of credit or something along those lines to get some of those proceeds to be able to fix up the home or upfit the home the way you would want it. So, say that you have an HVAC system that you're constantly putting money into to band-aid it back together to keep it going every summer and winter. Maybe the roof is getting really old and you're getting worried about having to take care of patching leaks or something like that, and you'd prefer to just replace the roof. Those are great examples of what you could use a home equity line of credit for, or getting some of that equity out. Other more sexy ways to use it to really upfit or upstage your home would be redoing the kitchen. Maybe you just want fresh flooring throughout the house. Maybe you had some substantially stained carpets or really uh, scraped up wood flooring. Maybe it's time for a fresh paint job or to redo that primary bathroom. You could even just want an off-site shop attached on or somewhere on your property. Like, for instance, if you wanted a workshop behind your house, maybe a shed that has power. So you can actually turn some lights on, run some power tools in the shed or something like that. Just something as simple as that is a great use of equity, especially if it's in a home that you already care a lot about. You just want to make it better suited to your current needs. And then the third option for you would always be to pursue personal goals. So maybe there's been a business that you've really wanted to start, but the problem is you're not able to get a loan to get that business off the ground. Or maybe they say you need more capital or more of your own money in order to get that business going. Your home's equity is a great tool to use to get those businesses off the ground, especially if you needed, a storefront or design or anything along those lines. It can help out a great deal. Maybe that business that you were looking to start up was for rental incomes and rental properties. Using your home's equity is a great way to float a down payment or closing costs on those income producing or rental properties. So that way you're not directly pulling money out of your savings account or pulling it directly out of your checking account in order to make that happen. Perhaps you've got kids who are in that age range where they're going to start going to college or trade school, and you need some additional funds to make that happen so that they're not swimming in a pool of college debt when they're all done. Use your home equity for something like that as well. Can be a great tool to make sure you're setting your family up for the future and setting your kids up to not have as much to worry about down the line. You can also use it for personal fulfillment. Maybe it's always been your goal or your life's dream to do a little bit of traveling. Maybe it's not something super extravagant, but maybe you always wanted to go to Europe or take a cruise. I would avoid completely frivolous spending on your home's equity. I mean, truly use it for something that's going to either fulfill you or make you have a better financial situation going forward, because adding and reinvesting into your current home is going to help your home's property value. Purchasing a home that fits your needs better is going to be more beneficial for you in the long run. Or pursuing professional or personal goals can always help you with that as well. So just be mindful of what you're going to be using that equity for, because again, here in Greensboro, we have tons of folks out here with plenty of equity, and you might be sitting in your home today knowing that you purchased it back in the 90s. And unfortunately, a lot of what you're looking around in your living room or in your kitchen might be still from the 90s. So that fresh paint, taking down the wallpaper, changing up the flooring, new appliances, it can go a long way to make your life more comfortable and easier. But it can also go a long way to getting you maximum value when and if you decide to sell it in the future. So keep those wonderful things in mind. Never stop asking questions about how you can make your money or your property do more for you, because one of the most important ways to grow your wealth and to establish your wealth is by property ownership, by home ownership. So make sure you're taking every advantage of it. Um, if you do happen to have any questions about your home's equity or your home's value, click the link below. I'll be more than happy to speak with you to make sure that any goals you have are going to be met. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time. Have a great week.